What's up, everybody? Week 11 in the NFL is upon us, with the first game of Thursday nighter already done, complete, with Tennessee knocking off Green Bay on the Thursday nighter. First up, we're going to talk San Fran, 5-4, 8-point favorites on the road to face Arizona, over under 43.5 in this game. 49ers are 1-7-1 against spread versus the Cardinals. Underdogs 6-1-1 against spread in this series. Road teams 3-1-1 against spread their last 5 meetings. Arizona's 11-3 straight up versus San Fran. Cards are 1-9 straight up their last 10 games at home. I like San Fran in this game. I think they're the better team. They've shown me more this year. I think they're going to win this game something like 24 or 21. I don't think they're going to cover the spread. I think Arizona will do enough at home to cover the spread, but definitely not win this game. And I do like that to just sneak over that over under a 43.5. I like that around 44, 45, something like that. LA Rams, 2.5-point dogs on the road in New Orleans to face the Saints. 2.5-point home favorites. Over under on this one set at 39. Overs 5-2 the last 7 meetings in New Orleans. Home teams 8-1 against spread their last 9. Rams are 8-3 against spread their last 11 meetings. LA is 5-2 straight up their last 7 versus the Saints. Rams are 6-1 straight up versus the NFC South. Saints are 1-4 straight up and against spread their last 5 overall. Saints lead the NFL with 19 turnovers. I do like them to just eke this one out. I don't know where LA is going to score. Their line's beat up. Cooper Kupp's out, hurt. I don't know where the scoring is going to come in this game. I say Saints 10-9. Definitely well under the total on this one. Go Rams, go, though. I'm cheering for the Rams to win this because the Eagles have the Saints' first overall pick, and right now that's sitting around 2, 3, or 4. So I hope the Rams win, but I don't think they're going to. I think the Saints are going to win this game. New York Jets plus 3.5 on the road in New England to face Bill Belichick and the Patriots. Over under 38 in this one. Overs 10-4-1 the last 15 in New England. Jets are 1-5-1 against spread. It actually X that first over stat because I have it written down mixed between the Rams game and the Jets, so we'll just forget that over stat I just gave you because I'm not sure which game it belongs to tell you the truth. So Jets are 1-5-1 against spread in New England. Favorites 4-0 against spread. New York's 2-8 against spread last 10 versus Pats. And I keep all my mistakes in. I don't edit out nothing. I don't restart the video. I don't do none of that shit. It's one take. It is what it is. That's how it is. That's how it goes. I drink my water, whatever. There is nothing done up about this. New York's 2-8 against spread their last 10 versus the Pats. Jets have lost 11 straight in New England. New York is 0-10 straight up their last 10 versus the Patriots, who have won 13 in a row in this series. Jets are 2-13 straight up versus the AFC East. Patriots are 1-3 after a bye since Brady went to Tampa Bay. Patriots won 22-17 on October 30th. Zach Wilson, he tossed 3 picks. Mac Jones was sacked 6 times. Which one is going to repeat itself? First or second year QBs facing Bill Belichick in New England are 5-53 straight up. I think the Jets win this one, a close one, 17-14, finally break that streak. They've had a hell of a year so far, and I think they will get it done in this one. And the total under in this game as well, I like. Chicago plus 3 in Atlanta to face the Falcons, over under 49. Both teams like to run the football in this one. Under 7-2 the last 9 meetings, 5-1 the last 6 in Atlanta. Underdogs 4-0 against spread their last 4 meetings. Bears are 4-0 against spread their last 4 versus Atlanta. Home teams 5-2 against spread their last 7 matchups. Falcons are 2-8 against spread their last 10 versus the Bears. Atlanta's 4-11 straight up their last 15 versus Chicago. Falcons are 3-9 against spread their last 12 overall at home. Bears are number 1 in rush offense, and the Falcons are number 4. Both teams' run D allow 119 plus rush yards per game, and both teams struggle on third down defense. Falcons' last game was versus the Panthers. Teams this year are 0-8 straight up their next game after they face the Panthers. Doesn't matter whether they beat the Panthers, lose to the Panthers, how well they do against the Panthers. If they played the Panthers their last game, doesn't matter if they're coming off a bye week after playing the Panthers. If their last game was versus the Panthers, they lose their next game. I don't know what to make of this one, so I'm going to stick with that trend because it holds true with both the Atlanta Falcons and the Cincinnati Bengals, which I'll touch on that game later on in the video. I think Chicago wins this game like 28, 24, 30, 27, something like that. So they obviously cover the spread, and I will be putting some money on them on the money line. I will be betting on this game. I'll probably be betting on the Jets game as well. That's the only other one I've touched on so far, where I'll put money on the spread on the Jets, not necessarily for them to win outright, although I might sprinkle something on the Jets. I probably will, but I don't really want to put it in the video because it'll be a very small sprinkle on them. Carolina plus 13 in Baltimore to face the Ravens, minus 13 at home, over under 41.5 in this one. Panthers are 4-3 against spread their last 17 overall and 3-14 straight up. Carolina's 4-2 straight up and against spread their last 6 versus the Ravens though. Panthers are 0-8 straight up on the road and 0-4 straight up on the road this year. Ravens are 4-1 straight up their last 5 overall. Baltimore's 11-2 straight up versus the NFC South. Ravens have 150 plus rush yards in 8 straight games. I think Baltimore rolls this game. I think they're finally coming into form with what we all thought, even though they're still a little injured and whatnot. That trade, Roquan Smith, oh my goodness, like, I love Baltimore Ravens this year. I've had money on them since before the draft. I've had money on the Eagles, Tennessee Titans, Buffalo Bills, Kansas City Chiefs, Minnesota Vikings, and the Baltimore Ravens, all as division winners and shit this year. Parlayed them all together, and the Bucks I think I threw in there as well on a few tickets as well. I think Baltimore wins this like 28-13, 30-14, 35-14, something like that. I think they cruise with this one, and this will be one of the only double-digit spreads I will be taking, and I'll probably tease this one down. Actually, I probably won't lay that 13. I'll probably do a same-game parlay with Lamar Jackson, tease the Ravens to like 7.5, 8.5, 9.5 point favorites, depends on what that payout is for each of them. And then I'll put like Lamar Jackson, like rushing yards or something like that. I'll probably play some rushing props or rushing passing combined or something like that to make it worthwhile on the bet. I won't lay that 13. I just don't like that number, but I don't trust Carolina, and I think Baltimore's going to cruise, so I'll do a same game parlay teasing that number down a bit in my favor. Washington minus 3 on the road in Houston to face the 1-7-1 Texans, over under 41 on this one. Favorites 4-1 against spread. Commanders are 4-1 straight up last 5 overall and 4-2 against spread their last 6 on the road. Texans are 1-10-1 straight up their last 12 at home. I think Washington wins this game. I just think they're a better team than Houston, and I think they'll be able to squeak this one out. I do think Houston will play another tight game, another tough game. They're gritty and grimy, and I love that. I think that Washington wins 2017, 21-20, something like that. It'll be a close game. Houston, I think that field goal is right on the money. I think Houston might cover 1-point win with that 21-20, or it'll be right on that push line. Philadelphia Eagles 8-1 suffered their first loss versus Washington. Washington, I don't know whether Philly just played a little lackadaisical or whatever it was. Washington came out firing. They ran the ball 50 times, averaging only 3 yards a rush, which isn't too bad, but they just kept pounding the ball, dominated time of possession, and grinded out 150 yards on the ground versus the Eagles. Missing Jordan Davis, wow, what a big difference. It's something like they allow like 2.6 or 3 rushing yards per attempt against them with Jordan Davis, the rookie, in the lineup. And without him, it jumps up to like 5.9 or 6.1 or some bullshit like that. It like literally almost or just doubles. And so now they signed Linval Joseph and Ndamukong Suh this week to plug them holes, at least until Jordan Davis returns for the Tennessee game. They got a bunch of tough backs coming up. Aaron Jones, they'll have Zeke coming up. They'll have who else? Derrick Henry coming up in that Titans game. I know I'm missing one. Forgive me for that. But Philadelphia underdogs 4-1. Everybody's on the Colts because Jeff Saturday got the team all hyped up and was a great leader in their win over the Raiders, who I keep falling and fucking betting on and losing. And will I fall for that again this week? You'll find out very soon whether I'm gonna or not. Underdogs 4-1 against spread. Road teams 4-1 against spread. Philly is 1-6 against spread their last 7 versus the Colts. Eagles are 6-1 straight up their last 7 road games. The Eagles are 5-0 straight up versus the AFC. Colts are 4-8 against spread their last 12 overall. I think Philadelphia, sorry for that. I think Philadelphia cruises in this one. I think the Colts will be exposed. I think that was a one-game hype up with Jeff Saturday, all the energy that he must have brought into the locker room. Some of the players playing just because of how much hate he was getting on social media and by a lot of people. I don't like how the Colts went about it. I'm a bit old school in that way, where I think somebody with coaching experience at more than a high school level for a very limited time and limited number of years, I don't think they should be getting that shot in the NFL right away. I think you got to work your way up, and that's the way I believe in it. If not, if you believe different, so be it. It's just my opinion. I'm not really hard-nosed on it or anything like that. I'm not making a fuss about this or anything. I think it was a bad decision. I think it's going to show up, his lack of coaching knowledge and ability. And with the young offensive coordinator, I think that's really going to be exposed this week against the Eagles, regardless whether Sue or Joseph actually suit up and play. I think Joseph might play. I don't know whether Sue will or not. I think he'll probably suit up just so that he's sort of on the sideline, but I don't know how many snaps he'll play. I don't think either one of them will really play a whole lot there, but I think the Eagles win this game easily, 30-17, 30-14, 27-14, something like that. They'll win, and they will cover the 6.5 point spread. I like that number right where it is, because they could just win this by a touchdown, like 27-20 as well. Detroit Lions 3-point dogs in New York to face the G-Men. Over under 44.5 in this one. Lions are 5-1 against spread in New York. Road team 7-2 against spread. Detroit's 12-6 against spread their last 18 games overall. Lions are 1-7 straight up their last 8 overall road games. Giants are 5-1 against spread their last 6 games overall. New York is 2-6 straight up their last 8 versus the NFC North. Lions will be the first top 10 passing offense that the Giants have faced all year. I didn't realize that. That was crazy to me when I read that this week when I was researching for this game. Giants have 7 one-score wins this season. If it wasn't for that one-score loss that they also have on their record, they'd be tied with Minnesota for the most one-score wins. New York has... Oh, man. I keep flip-flopping on this game. I probably won't be putting money on this game, but I think Detroit might win this game 24-21. I might sprinkle a little bit of money on the Lions. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised either way on this, but I think this is a field goal game no matter who wins it. The Giants are pretty one-dimensional, and ever since Detroit the last few weeks, their defense doesn't look as horrid as it did at the start of the season. So are they coming into form? Their offensive line has been good at protecting the quarterback. They're not allowing that much pressure. So I don't know, something tells me that maybe the Detroit Lions might be a more well-balanced team in this matchup at this point in the year. I think they might squeak out an upside win here. I am going to put a couple bucks on the Detroit Lions. I've talked myself into it. Cleveland Browns plus 7.5 in Buffalo, which the game is really in Detroit because of that snowstorm. I don't know if anybody's been following that weather they got in Buffalo. Holy fuck. Thank God I don't got to deal with that shit in Toronto, just north of Toronto and shit. Holy shit. Snow looks like it's 5 feet fucking tall there. But anyways, Cleveland, 7.5 point dogs in Buffalo, over under 50.5 in this one. Favorites 5-0-1 against spread. Home team, which doesn't really matter, 3-0-1 against spread. And this is the second time that Buffalo has actually played in Detroit in the indoor stadium because of weather. But I forget when the last time was, but this is the second time. Browns are 1-4-1 against spread their last 6 versus the Bills. 2-4 straight up their last 6 versus Buffalo. Cleveland's 2-4 against spread their last 6 games overall. Browns are 1-7 straight up their last 8 road games. Cleveland's 0-5 against spread versus the AFC East, Nick Chubb leads the league with 11 rushing TDs this year. That could be a problem for the Bills' run D, which has allowed 145 plus yards on the ground in 3 straight games now. Allen has tossed multiple INTs in 3 straight games. He's never done so in 4 straight. Kevin Stefanski is 7-1 against spread as a dog of 3.5 points or more since becoming the Browns head coach. I think that streak ends here. I like Buffalo. Now that this game is indoors, I love this game for Buffalo even more. Cleveland's one-dimensional if there is a team. I know I've said that before about another team, but about the Giants just in the last game, but Nick Chubb is it for the Browns, and Buffalo's air attack should be able to do similar to what the Dolphins did to the Browns defense last week, and the only thing that was going for the Browns is possible weather to slow down the Bills' offense. I like the Bills in this by 10 plus points, 30-20, something like that. I will take them on the 7.5 hesitantly, but I'll probably do another same game parlay where I tease that to like 6.5 or 4.5 or something like that, depending on what the payout is with that bet. Las Vegas Raiders, been my nemesis all fucking season. I thought they were going to do well. I thought they'd finish second in their division. That is not looking like it's going to fucking happen now. Sitting at 2-7, they're plus 2.5 on the road in Denver to face the Broncos, who to a lot of people, they're the biggest disappointment, kind of similar to how the Raiders are with me. Broncos 2.5 point home favorites. 41.5 is the over number or under number on this game. Raiders are 9-1 against spread their last 10 versus the Broncos and 8-2 straight up. Home teams 4-1 against spread in their last 5 meetings. Underdogs 7-2 against spread. Under is 9-3 last 12 versus and 5-2 when they play in Denver. Raiders have lost 6 straight road games overall. Broncos are 0-6 straight up versus the AFC West. Denver is 0-5 against spread as a favorite. I think, yeah, I'm falling for it again. So if you guys go against this one, but I'm not putting my fucking money on this game. I'm not touching this fucking game. The only thing I'll touch in this game is Josh Jacob prop. That is it. 21-20 Raiders. I'm sticking with it, moving on. Cincinnati Bengals, minus 3.5 point favorites on the road to face the Steelers, who beat them in week 1. Over-under set at 40 on this one. That was the TJ Watt and what was it, the 5 turnover game, I believe, by Joe Burrow, if I remember correctly. Bengals are 10 or 5 sacks by TJ. What was it? It's some crazy fucking stat in that game. Maybe both. Bengals are 10-22-1 against spread their last 33 versus Pittsburgh. Cincy's 6-1 against spread their last 7 overall and 5-2 straight up. Bengals are 3-12 straight up their last 15 versus the Steelers. Cincy's 1-5 straight up in Pittsburgh the last 6 games. Bengals are 1-4 straight up versus the AFC North. Steelers are 4-1 against spread versus the AFC North. Bengals' last game was against Carolina. Oh, and just like the Falcons, there's that crazy stat again. The teams are 0-8 who have played Carolina in their next game. Even though the Bengals are coming off the bye, they still have no Jamar Chase in this one. I don't know, revenge for week 1 for the Bengals or the Carolina Panthers curse carries on in this. Man, I don't know which way to go. I'm going to put money probably on both sides. I'll probably do a same game parlay where Pittsburgh wins with a Steelers heavy parlay and probably one for Cincy with a Bengals heavy parlay. But I don't know, man. I'm going to say Steelers. I think this is a close game. 2017 Bengals do win and get the revenge, but don't cover the spread. That's how I'm going to break it down. So that's how I'm going to put my money. Dallas Cowboys, 1.5 point favorites in Minnesota to face the 8-1 Vikings. Over under 48.5 on this one. Underdogs 5-0 against spread. Road teams 4-1 against spread. Cowboys are 3-10 against spread versus the Vikings their last 13 meetings. Dallas is 2-7 against spread their last 9 times in Minnesota. Boys are 6-2 against spread their last 8 overall, and they're also 6-2 straight up their last 8 games. Dallas is 4-1 straight up versus Minnie their last 5. Vikings have won 7 straight, all by 1 score, with 4 fourth quarter comebacks this year already. That's got to be the most in the NFL. I should have looked that up. but I'm gonna take a guess that is the most, but that's not something I can verify. Cousins has at least one TD pass in 39 games in a row. That is the longest active streak by any QB in the league. Tony Pollard, 4 TDs and 275 scrimmage yards in 2 games without Zeke, so he's definitely showing he can carry the load, whether Zeke's in or out of the lineup. I just think Dallas is a more complete team. I don't see them blowing this. I think that was just a spike game with Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy last week, and that's why Green Bay was able to come out. And I think it was like how Jeff Saturday hyped up the Colts. I think, no, I almost said Brett Favre, sorry. Aaron Rodgers was able to hype up the fucking Packers, and the rookie had an amazing fucking career game, and Rodgers was able to get that spite and win over McCarthy because of how much he hated him and how he called the offense and how much he said the offense wasn't creative enough and was stale, etc., etc. So I think Dallas is able to hold on to this one, win it 24-21. I think their defense steps up and takes the victory from Minnesota to seal the deal and help Prescott and the boys get back on track. Kansas City in LA to face the Chargers. Chiefs are 5-point road favorites, over under 52 in this one. Chiefs are 8-1 against spread versus the Chargers. Road team 16-4-1 against spread their last 21 meetings. KC's 1-4-1 against spread the last 6 versus the Chargers, though. Chiefs have won 7 straight games straight up in LA. KC is 14-3 straight up their last 17 versus the Chargers. Chiefs have won 7 in a row versus the AFC West. Mahomes has won 13 straight divisional road games. I think Kansas City does win this game. I think they just sneak out the cover in this. I think it's like 27-21, 28-21. And if the Chargers cover, it'll be because it's like a 27-24 outcome. But I like the Chiefs. They might even roll this one by 10 or more. But I like that 5 number, getting Kansas City and Mahomes against Chargers team that's just got back above 500. I think they're going to creep back down to that 500 mark after this one. 27-21 puts me under that number. Even if it's 30-21, that's still under the number on this one. That's my Week 11 picks for this week. Good luck with all your picks. Remember, stick with your gut instincts. Stick within your means. That means like don't bet more than 10% of your bankroll on any single bet. And if you got 100 in your bankroll, don't bet more than $10 on a single bet. Do $10 bets if you want to use it all up in one night, whatever. That way you can have a couple long shots, a couple medium odds, and some more safer bets, we'll call them, because nothing's a sure thing in gambling or in sports. Any fucking team can win on any given day. They're all the top athletes in the world across the board, and they all play with pride, and it's just management who tries to tank, not the fucking players on the field, on the court, or on the ice. Anyways, good luck. Peace.